Hope everybody's doing good.
All are doing good, and I like your background, and you're looking very colorful, Madhu.
Matching my background.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I'll be back in a second. Somebody is knocking the door.
Okay. I'm thinking we should start probably, or maybe Sandeep, you can confirm how many participants we still expect more because we had more registrations at the top.
Yeah, we got around more than 250 plus registrations. I think it's awesome response from the participants. As of now, there are 44 registrations, and we are recording the session for our placement in related or social media channels in further. So let us wait 2 minutes. It's around 6:31. So let us start around 6:34 or 6:35. Okay.
Sure. Okay, sure.
Hi, Anurag. I just noticed that you're there. When I heard your voice, it's a very familiar voice.
Yeah, it's Ajit. I'm actually not able to come on cam on mobile. I'm outside,
Okay,
but yeah,
no
good to see you.
worries. Likewise.
KK, you have the sharing rights also. You can present your slides also.
Yes.
Okay, I think we should start probably.
Yes, Anurag, you can
yeah.
make continue, please.
Okay, so let's get this started. I'll kick it off. So thank you everyone for joining. I'll appreciate everybody who joined today on a Saturday evening here in India. So taking time out for this interesting topic, and also especially KK for joining us from the other side of the world early his morning. So thank you to everyone for joining this today. I'm Anurag Tiwari. I am part of the IC2 Hyderabad chapter, and I specifically focus on the outreach activities for the chapter. And today's session, we have KK Mukhi, who is the CEO and founder at Network Intelligence, and also the co-founder at Transilience AI, as well as the founder at Institute of Information Security. So looks like he has his hands full, and I really appreciate KK for you joining us here and going and taking us through to this topic. I will definitely give a brief intro about KK, but then I'm sure you would have more to add to it as you start over. So KK has 23 years of experience in cybersecurity and auditing. Since the past 1 year, he has been working extensively on leveraging AI within the cybersecurity realm. And again, I would thank everyone for taking your time out. Feel free to put in your questions as the session continues. And after the session is over, we will initiate the CP process to everybody who has joined, as well as send out the survey for the session. So stay on with us. And with that, KK, I'll hand it over to you. Please take it over.
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Anurag, Sandeep, and others from the chapter for inviting me to present on this topic. And good evening, everyone. So just some, I think, pointers. If you raise your hand, I can, you can then unmute and then speak so that we're not speaking over each other. Continue to put your questions in the chat. While I'm sharing my screen, I will also try and keep checking my chat to see whatever questions you might have. If you have a question you feel like you want to get it answered right away, again, please raise your hand. And if you, we will try and do this as a workshop. So if you can also practice at your end or do some of the actions at your end, it will be helpful because the more we familiarize ourselves with these tools, the more we will get confident of how we can use them and which tool we can use for which purpose. So this is a course actually, or this is a workshop that I started working on a few weeks back, a couple of months maybe, uh, for my own team actually, where I felt that I should, kind of give them more ideas of what they could do, how they could leverage AI in their own work, while at the same time keeping the data security aspects of it in mind, which I'm sure all of you are also concerned about, and we will address them as we go along. I Some of these steps that I show you or some of the demos that I show you work only if you have a Chat GPT Plus account, which is the $20 a month. But if you don't have it, I strongly recommend that you do subscribe either to that or to Claude or one of these. The paid version of it will give you more capability. But even if you can't, then just watch along, try it. I think much of it should work with the free version as well. But let's see. I've been using ChatGPT for quite some time, so I don't the paid version. So I don't know what's the difference now between a free and a paid version. So lately, how are they differentiating them? Anyway, so this will be our agenda for today. Actually, from an intro perspective, Anurag, you covered everything, so I'm not going to add much more to it. I welcome everybody to connect with me on LinkedIn. That's my primary megaphone from where I keep, sharing updates, etc. So please do connect on LinkedIn. So we will just do a very quick overview of what's what in this whole AI ML world. If like me, you are also keeping yourself updated, it can often get very overwhelming. I don't know if you get that feeling, but I get that feeling quite regularly. Almost every day there are three, four major announcements from Google or OpenAI or Claude or China on something new that they have created, something new that has been launched. ChatGPT just came out yesterday, I think, or a few days back with its OpenAI came out with its latest prompt engineering guide. It's worth reading that document. And so and that is for the latest version 4.1. So it requires effort to keep in touch with all of what is happening, keep yourself updated. My suggestion to most people that I meet is to dedicate a minimum of 1 hour a day just for learning and reading and watching YouTube or whatever, right? Whatever source of learning you have, just to keep yourself abreast of what is happening and and reduce that feeling of anxiety that technology is racing away, and that's how I feel, kind of that FOMO, right? So just that 1 hour investment, I think, if during the commute or during a walk, just listening to relevant sources of learning, I think that can be very, very important. It can be quite a game changer for most of us. Anyway, so let's start with some basic, demystification. Again, I am not an AI expert, so please don't ask me too many questions around difference of AI and ML and all that. There are better sources online that explain this very, very nicely. But essentially, when we talk about AI, we are talking about a very interesting test called the Turing test. I don't know how many of you are aware of this Alan Turing's concept. Alan Turing, who is this mathematical genius during World War II, there is a movie made around his life, and he cracked the Enigma machine, which was being used by the Germans for encryption. He was a leader, he led the team that cracked that encryption. So he said that if you as a person are behind a screen, and on the other side of the screen are two entities, one is a human being and one is a computing system, and you're asking both of them the same series of questions. And as they are answering those questions, if you are unable to differentiate on which answers are coming from a machine and which answers are coming from a human, that is your definition Somebody mistakenly muted
Okay, I
me.
think,
Yeah.
yeah,
So no problem.
I
So
think maybe a few seconds back.
okay. So Alan Turing came up with this concept, right, of how what art. So since the time that computers have been around, since the 19 conceptually, and then practically 50s and 60s, work has been going around on artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is nothing but computers behaving like humans or smarter than humans. There is also this concept of AGI, artificial general intelligence, which you must be hearing. This concept basically states that machines will become truly autonomous. That means that they will be able to reason for themselves. They will be able to see the world through whatever sensory inputs we create for them. And from that, they will be able to decide for themselves. That, in my view, will be a bit of a scary moment, but that moment is coming. Now, there are many discussions when we will have AGI, etc., but that we will see. Today, the work that is being happening around AI, generally you will see, for example, a term called machine learning. Machine learning is where algorithms look at a large data set and discover patterns within that. We've had machine learning algorithms in operation in cybersecurity for a very long time. For example, all our email security, the spam filtering that happens on Gmail or Outlook or whatever, that is all using variations of the Bayes algorithm, which is one of the most popular machine learning algorithms out there. So ML is used prevalently for things like NDR, network detection and response tools, which hoover in a lot of network data and then try and find anomalous patterns within that. EDR, XDR are all machine learning algorithms. They are not static algorithms. If you see this, then this is a problem. They're just learning the behavior of the system, and from that, they're determining the anomaly. So that is machine learning. The version of AI that we are all facing today or playing with today or hearing in the news is called generative AI. Generative AI is that class of AI algorithms which can, as the name suggests, generate new stuff. Okay, it could be new words, it can be new images or new videos. It is having the ability to generate new stuff. It is important to understand how these algorithms work. They work on the basis of a large language model. Again, I'm sure I'm covering ground which many of you are familiar with, but a large language model is nothing but a map of all known text, for example, in the world, everything on the internet, all books of all languages, etc. As much as these people who create the models can hoover in, they will put that into this structure. This large language model is what we call a neural network. Now, as our brain, right, you know the structure of the brain, we have ganglions and neurons connected by ganglions. Imagine this same structure is mapped onto the words that you find on the internet. So words actually are linked to each other in a multi-dimensional uh, structure. Okay, it's not one dimensional, it's not two dimensional, it's not three dimensional, it's multi-dimensional. And the more dimensions you add to it, the more accurate that model becomes. Why am I going into a little bit of detail here? Because you have to understand that this is a probabilistic model. It has probabilities of what the next likely word is going to be. So when I say my name and I stop, the probabilistic model predicts that the third word after my name is going to be is, because that's what generally happens. Okay. Um, it's raining cats and 99% the next word should have been dogs, right? It's raining cats and dogs. So this is what the model is. Now, why is it important to understand this kind of behavior of this model? Is because you must then realize that it is not a very intelligent model. Okay, it is a kind of a apparently very smart, predicting machine. And that tells you why it can often hallucinate. It can often imagine things because it is just kind of predicting uh, based on probabilities. Okay. But it looks and appears so smart. It solves so many of our problems that we often think that, wow, this is really intelligent. New models have come that have the option of reasoning. I'm sure many of you have used the reasoning option of some of these models. When you use the reasoning option or the reasoning model version, then your output is much better because they go beyond just this probabilistic scenario. The algorithms over there are working like a group of experts. So as let's say you went into a room of PhD scientists in your particular subject, let's say cybersecurity, and you said, boss, this is my problem. These scientists would not just stand up and give you the answer. They would brainstorm, they would discuss each other, they would challenge each other, and then they would come up with talking points, and then they would try and write a comprehensive answer for you. This is what reasoning models do. This is very, very key for you to understand because if your question is straightforward, you don't need to use the reasoning model. If your problem statement is vague, ambiguous, complex, what should I do in my life? What is the meaning of life? What is the future of AI? You should use the reasoning model. Okay, the answers will be much, much more interesting and more well thought out. It'll appear more well thought out. The reasoning model will also go on the internet and search for more relevant information. We'll add all of those references into your response, and we'll see some examples of it. So essentially, this is important to just kind of grasp. AI is just super smart software and hardware, of course. Machine learning is a subset of AI. These are algorithms that learn from data, have been around, have been very effective. Without machine learning, we would not have EDR, XDR, UABA, user entity behavior analytics. We would not have, so many of these security technologies today that email filtering, as I explained to you earlier, all of this would not be there. Generative AI, as I said, is stuff that creates the algorithms and models that create new things. In large language models, it understands and generates language. Now, large language models also are open source or proprietary. In fact, if you anywhere at any time download an open source model like Llama from Facebook or Mistral, 99% of your download will be not code. It is a database, this vectorized database. It will just get downloaded, and there'll be maybe 50 lines of Python code to activate this neural network, which is words and weights or vector locations in that multi-dimensional array given to each word. Even if we go more technically, they're not even word, they're tokens. So they break a sentence apart into tokens, which can be one word, combination of two words, or more. Okay, but I think we can just use the word words to understand how this large language model operates. Any questions so far? Any thoughts on this? Just going to take a look at the chat. Oh, okay. Yes. Can you suggest a few YouTube or podcasts on technology? I'll keep putting those in the chat, those links. Also, I'm going to be sharing this deck. In the notes section of this deck, you will find a number of links. Okay, there is a philosophy question which I will not answer because that is an endless debate. This is the precise question you can ask ChatGPT's reasoning model, Chandra. So please go and ask it. Okay. And you will get some pretty good answers, and then you can debate and discuss with ChatGPT. So you can have an interesting weekend doing that. At the outset, how do we understand which is a probabilistic or reasoning model? You can actually see that in ChatGPT. I will show you now that you can see which ones are reasoning models, and it tells you what models are best for what. And the more you play around with it, you'll get an answer. Oh, this GPT-4 O is great for me, but O3 Mini is awesome for. I'll show you a lot of these examples. Right? It's going to be fun. Agentic AI, I will hopefully we have time. So at the end, I will introduce to you what is agentic AI. Today, whatever is happening in the AI world is all agentic. The large language models have become a commodity. Okay, it's become like cloud, AWS or Azure. It does not matter which cloud you build on. It is what you build on that cloud is what is going to be interesting, and that is all agentic AI. So we will talk about why is agentic AI all the buzz and what makes it so interesting. Okay, so let's go back now. So as I said, there are lots of models. It can get very confusing. And people have their favorite models. Last time I was doing a session like this, somebody stood up and said, KK, why is Grok missing from your list? And I was like, I'm very sorry. There are another 20 models that are missing from my list, but please pick your favorite and go with that. My suggestion is to keep on using two or three. Sometimes you use ChatGPT, you don't get a great output. Try and ask that same question on Claude, or try and ask that same question on Google Gemini. So see where you get a good answer. And these models are changing all the time and they're getting better and more effective also. So the same question you asked it 1 week back and the same question you ask it now, you will get a different response, hopefully a better, more convincing response. So these are the typical popular ones out there. Again, I have not put Chinese models like DeepSeek over here, for example, because who knows where that data goes. So now when we come to, for example, our own life and our audit work or security work, you will find that GPT-4 actually works with a lot of use cases that you might have in mind. Um, For example, you want to draft a report. You want to compare multiple security policies. And there is a term used here called RAG. I will explain RAG as well to you, and we will hopefully build a quick RAG application of our own today. You have a lot of documents you want to upload. Gemini actually is very good. Google's Gemini is very good for large amount of content because um, it allows you to upload more data. Gemini will limit you to, I think, sorry, GPT will limit you to, ChatGPT will limit you to 10 documents uploaded at one time. Also, it consumes tokens. So those token limits are for the $20 subscription, the token limits are less. I have never hit that token limit, though I am a very extensive user of ChatGPT. But if I had like, for example, one of the projects I'm working on right now is that we are a Gartner customer. So we receive a lot of content from Gartner. It takes a huge amount of effort to read, and I may still read it, but the rest of my company, I don't know how much they will read it. But I want them to benefit from this value of this Gartner content. So the best way is to create a private database of this Gartner content and put a chatbot in front of it and let them query it. Okay. Or let's say you have a corporate set of policies, right? You have 30, 40 policies. You are the CISO or the security manager or the compliance manager, and people keep asking you, hey, what's our password policy for administrators? Hey, what's our encryption policy for credit card information? You can put all of these PDFs into a location, build your own chatbot. Again, I'll show you today how to do that. There are multiple ways to do that. You can play around and then decide this is the best way. And you're set. You just give them a link to that and say, guys, please ask all your questions here. If they don't get answered, then please come to me. Okay. Uh, People have started doing that, for example, to build internal chatbots for training, where you feed in all your manuals into the app and then give a front end of chatting, and people can ask questions to the manuals and learn from there. So, as you can see, for the most purposes, GPT-4 and this RAG piece is important where you have your own context to add. because ChatGPT, for example, does not know your organizational policies. So where you bring in your contextual information, you need what is called a RAG. Okay, we'll talk about it. First, the foundation for all of this is something called prompt engineering. This is a beautiful skill to learn. I would recommend that whether you believe in AI, you are a skeptic, whatever your mindset is, it is great to learn this skill, because tomorrow, if you build a custom GPT, you build a RAG, you build agentic AI, whatever you want to do, suppose within your organization, somebody comes to you and say, we've built an AI based app, whatever it is, right? Let's just call it AI based apps. And this is going to happen. Or we've signed up with a vendor that is bringing an AI based app into the organization. Okay, great. Now you are supposed to be the security guardian of that app. You are supposed to carry out testing, put a policy framework, put guardrails in place, what data is going, who's using it, what is the agreement we have, all this stuff you'll do. But you also want to test this app. Not only do you want to test this app from a security perspective, but you also want to test it from a reliability and accuracy perspective. Is this giving random answers? Is this giving wrong answers? Can I ask it political questions, for example? Does it go outside its remit? There are multiple issues with AI. There is a whole domain, right? Responsible AI. We'll not go into that today. That's a whole different workshop. But there's things like hallucination. The AI just dreams up the answers. I'll show you some shocking examples of it. There is drift. Models can drift over time. They can move away from what was accurate at one time. There can be plain inaccuracy. They can just give you answers that look convincing, but are not just hallucinated, but they are inaccurate. So you may take a business decision based on that. So for all of this to test and get your controls, you have to be able to prompt properly. And it's very easy to learn this if you just keep a few things in mind. Okay, so let's get to ChatGPT and start playing around with it, right? First, I want to show you. Okay. I'm just going to share my. Okay, and there's a bunch of questions. Post-quantum crypto, again, I don't know how much time we have, Raju, but I can comment on it. Anjani has a statement, very nice statement. I will not debate this statement, but I will just read it out. AI is just a very strong and smart assistant. That's why people are supporting it. Let us see your view at the end of today's session. Okay. Yes, we must do a risk assessment. Today, we are actually going to be working with the NIST framework for most of our examples. Krishna has a great point. I think about this question every day. Today, where AI is, what will the world look like next year and the year after that? It's unimaginable. Let us see how much time and enthusiasm you have on Saturday evening. But after I've covered, we will discuss more on that. Quantum seems to be a good question. I'm not an expert. I haven't done enough homework, but I have attended seminars and workshops, so I will maybe comment on it a little bit. Pradeep, this is a great question. So when we talk AI and cybersecurity, there's two aspects, right? AI for cybersecurity and cybersecurity for AI. So today we are covering this side of the coin, which is use of AI for cybersecurity. The cybersecurity risks of AI, it's a great topic. I have again content on it. I'd be happy to share the deck with you, but in the short time we have, we'll not be able to cover the second aspect comprehensively. All right, let's now take a dive into, and if you have ChatGPT with you, feel free to play along, right? Try these examples in your own. So this is basically ChatGPT. Okay, this is your basic window. Here, first of all, you will see a bunch of models. Okay, so GPT-4o, they're saying great for most tasks. Don't take too much headache. This is where the research comes in. I'll show you a great example for research. Okay, good for writing and exploring ideas. This is where the most amount of reasoning comes in. O3. O3 is a great model. If you have a complex question, as I said, ambiguous, etc., then please use advanced reasoning. Sorry, I see Nikhil. Hey, Nikhil, good to see you, man. You have a question? Please
Yeah, hi,
unmute
KK. Good
yourself.
morning.
Hi,
Absolutely.
hi.
Great. Yeah. Good to connect with you. So I think you partially touched on it, KK. I think my question was around that you said that with more data, the guarantee of accuracy also increases. I totally agree. But at the same time, we open up the risk of corrupting the model, right? Because too much of data also can be confusing at times, which is what we typically understand in a SOC environment. So wanted to understand how is that we measure that drift or measure that corruptness that comes into the responses, even if the model is giving some reasoning.
Yeah, today, so that's a fantastic question, Nikhil. How do these model creators, the foundational models as we call them, Claude, ChatGPT, Mistral, etc., DeepSeek, how do they check that their model is working accurately? There are a few techniques. The most famous technique is reinforcement learning by human feedback, RLHF. Which is essentially a set of humans sitting and giving it multiple inputs, seeing the outputs, and then telling the model that this version of your output is the best, and then the model learns from that. This is also now being agentized. So models are only testing models. Okay, AI is only testing the accuracy of AI, and that is the future as well, where automated algorithms are testing the output of these models and then deciding which version looks best. Um, the when as we are building our agentic AI in the company, one of the key aspects that gives me a little less, like reduces my anxiety, is when I'm called in by these developers and said, KK, what do you think of this output? And I'm able to use my 20 years of experience to say, this output is better than this output. Now, this judgment is very, I cannot tell you why I come up with this answer. But all of us do it all the time, and all of you will also be able to do it. You will be able to look at a question asked on Claude, a question asked on ChatGPT, and say, this answer looks much better. And that is where your experience and expertise comes in. And that's what I said. Prompt engineering is very important in our roles because you will be called to test these apps. You will be called to test these models in your environment, right? And like for a bank, they will be using AI for fraud detection, for customer response. We've seen so many examples of chatbots going off the rails and answering all sorts of random, giving all sorts of random and incorrect answers to people. It's affecting customers' brand reputation. So who did the testing of these chatbots? That's going to become very, very key. Maybe we'll do a session on testing AI and responsible AI, basically. Okay, but today, again, as I said, today's focus is on using AI. But it's good to keep these points at the back of your mind because as you're using them, you know where possible things can go wrong. Okay. So these are the models on ChatGPT, right? This, if you use, for example, it will take quite some time to give the answer. You can also choose deep research. So for example, you can see in the pop-up, it says I have 24 deep research questions available till May 25. So I'm allowed to ask 25 questions a month till my tokens get used up. You can also include searching of the web. You can include this option, deep research, and of course, image creation and all. From you must have seen. We are not going to get into image creation today. Okay. The other thing that you can do is you can create projects. Okay, so you can create a project. A project is a great way um, to collate all queries related to the same topic. Okay. You can also add files. You can add tailor instructions for the GPT for this particular project. Okay. So this is very important. This is our prompt engineering, basically adding instructions. Okay. So instead of writing a large prompt every time, you can add the common instructions to GPT to this project. So all your queries will automatically attach this background and context in addition to the query that you're asking. Okay, so this is an important point. It also has this concept, you can upload data from your computer, you can connect to a Google Drive. But biggest caveat I want to give you, plus please go here, go to your settings before you use any of this. Go to data controls and switch this off. This is by default on. Okay, so always keep this off. Improve the model for everyone is where your data is being used to train the models. You do not want that. So please switch it off. Okay. The other thing that you should do as a power user, you can also choose to not let ChatGPT reference your previous conversation when responding. I like this because it for some of the prompts I'm about to show you, it's brilliant where it can reference all your previous conversations. Okay, so I keep this on. Custom instructions are also good. So custom instructions I have given, for example, the one thing I don't like about ChatGPT is sometimes it can be too verbose, too nice, too prosaic, right? It like, come on, why are you so verbose? Come straight to the point. So I've set a tone. I said you be semi-formal, don't be too formal. My answer should be as if I am addressing another peer of mine in the industry. So, give that respect and give that kind of um, uh, don't mollycoddle in the answer, right? Don't patronize the answer. Use intelligent humor. I have never seen any intelligent humor come through, but anyway, I hope something will come through. I love to quote examples and case studies and provide audience with an aha moment. So please keep that in mind. Responses should be crisp and concise. Again, I hate the verbosity of ChatGPT. So in spite of this general instruction, I still give more instructions. Please give examples and references, etc. And then I give a little background about myself, who I am, what I do, who my audience is. I need to communicate effectively with people. So that's and I'm also into fitness. So if you can bring in any fitness related examples or whatever, always a good idea. It doesn't do that much actually, but still I've given it this background. So these are some capabilities that you can leverage. Again, I think most of this is available only through um, the ChatGPT Plus subscription. Okay. So most important, keep this off. Just improve the model. Here, it's your call. You want ChatGPT to reference saved memory and past chats to give more comprehensive answers to your questions, and definitely add custom instructions if you can. Okay. Now let's put a question over here. Anybody has a good question to ask? Let's talk about maybe. So I have decided to pick a theme, which is the NIST AI risk management framework. Anybody seen the NIST, gone through the NIST risk management framework? Anybody seen this document?
I think a lot of people are saying yes on the chat.
Okay, so this is the NIST AI risk management framework, right? Now this is like a 64-page document. Who's going to read all of it, right? We know it is there, but we'll read it when the time comes, etc. So ChatGPT to your rescue. Okay. Let's say that there is a question we want to ask here. Okay, where is my chat? Sorry, I've lost my spot. This one. So, let us say that we want to know a particular aspect of the NIST risk management framework. Okay. Now we can ask, what is the inventory requirement in the NIST? Okay. What do you guys think about this prompt? Any thoughts? Let me just keep the chat open. Any thoughts you have around this particular prompt?
Maybe it can be more specific in terms of what do you want it to respond in, like how detailed you need, or also in terms of what inventory you're talking about? I mean, again, it's also the input and what type of output you expect.
Yes, very good. So the question is too simple. The prompt is too simple. It does not add sufficient context, is what a lot of people are also saying, in addition to what you said, Anurag. And it is, you're not specifying the kind of output you want, right? So all of us agree that this is not a great prompt. Okay. Now, I want to show you, I have asked this in the past. Okay, let's say I have asked this question in the past. You can see here something has changed. I'm not showing the ChatGPT model. It says NIST AI RMF assisted. I'll come to this shortly. This query I've asked ChatGPT 4.0. Okay. Now, same question I asked. What are the requirements in NIST AI RMF for AI inventory? Okay. The NIST AI risk management framework, blah, 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 gives the govern function. I'm going to give you guys, please read this response a bit carefully. Okay, I'm going to give you a few minutes to read it. Okay. Just like speed read it. Okay, you don't have to read every word of it. And then, so if you see, it gives me some references of the gov and the map functions in the framework. And then it gives me the key attributes that should be there in the inventory. Okay, which is correct. This is all there in the document. And then it talks about integration of the enterprise risk, gives, because I said an aha moment, so it tries to bring in this, I assume, because of that. And then some summary, and then it says, would you like to give an AI inventory? Okay. So is this, what do you guys think of this answer? How much do you rate it out of 10?
It's probably 6, 7 because it's too verbose. I could probably read the document itself.
Okay, not very impressive, right? 6 out of 10. Chandra is saying 4 out of 10. So, but there is something even more insidious in this. Oh, Shams is very strict. He's like 3 out of 10. Okay. But there is something very, very insidious with this output. If you actually, I would rate it also a 6-ish, 5, 6-ish out of 10. It's not too bad, right? It tells me the gov function, gives me some reference, gives me the map function. But now let's take a deeper read of it. Okay. So gov. Policies, procedures, and processes should be in place to support AI risk management. But I did not ask about risk management. I asked about inventory. So this is that verbosity which is not required. Okay. Inventory is implied here as a prerequisite for governance. Actually, why are you talking about implied? It is required, mandated for in the standard, in the framework. So it is not even an implied requirement. Organizations are required to maintain a comprehensive inventory, but now if I assume that this is coming from Gov 1.1, this is wrong. I'll show you Gov 1.1. So this is not coming from Gov 1.1 at all, this particular statement. Let's come to the more interesting one, map function. Map 1.2 says context-specific AI risk should be identified. Okay. Map 1.3 says AI systems and capabilities should be documented. Inventories help to track this. Okay, okay, I accept. Okay. Mapping should include third-party models, data set, and services. Okay, fair enough. And key attributes are given. Now, let us go to the original document. Okay. It's not actually 60 pages is not too much to go through. So now Gov 1.1, right? What did it say? Gov is the risk assessment requirement. Was that what we saw? Policies, processes, and procedures to support AI risk management? Not at all. It is legal and regulatory requirements. Okay, so it's wrong. And then, in fact, Gov 1.3 is about risk management. So the reference itself is wrong. Okay. 1.4 is also risk management. Again, none of these have talked about inventory. 1.6 talks about inventory, which it has completely missed in the answer, right? It has not given me any reference to 1.6, right? So this is a complete miss. Nowhere it has said 1.6, which is precisely the clause I wanted it to quote. Okay. So that is completely missed on. And here actually it then gives me the content of the inventory in terms of typical data points to capture. Okay, this also we can check. Let's go deeper into this. It says this should be part of your. It does not use the same terminology. So for example, there it says data provenance, which means the source of data. Here it says training data source. Okay, it's given a little bit of a more understandable term, but I would have preferred the same technical term as the framework, right? I would have said, I want to know data provenance. And in fact, it is not just source, right? It is signatures, versioning, watermarks. Is all of this mentioned here? No. Correct? That's a big miss. So on the surface, you would have given it 6 on 10. Okay, now let's ask the rating later. Okay, special rights and consideration for intellectual property. Okay, is this there? No, I don't see it. Right? Nothing around intellectual property, correct? So this is a complete miss. But let me give you something even worse. Let's look at this map function. Map 1.2, map 1.3. Okay, great. Must be something relevant here. Let's go to map. Is this map? Yeah, map. So map 1.1, it is not talking about that. It's talking 1.2, 1.3. Okay, map 1.2, interdisciplinary AI actors, competencies, skills, and capacities for establishing demographic diversity. This is a totally different point. Nothing about inventory. It's about ensuring that there is no bias in the model, right? This is about protecting from bias. This guy is hallucinating to a different level, context specific AI risks. Okay. Even worse, map 1.3. So we are at map 1.2. Everybody with me? There is no map 1.3. Okay. It is map 2.1. There is no map 1.3 in the document. Okay. Map 4.1. 5.1, 5.2, and it'll go on to the diff measure. Okay, MS measure. So you can see how off the charts this answer was. So anybody wants to now re-rate the answer? What is your rating now for the answer?
0.
Correct. If you put this in a blog post, you're like, yeah, wow, I'm going to produce a blog post around creating inventory of a. It's a great idea. Okay. Anybody who took 5 minutes to read the document would rip it apart, would say, please improve prompt engineering, boss, because they would know it came from ChatGPT and they would know that you didn't do your enough homework, right? So it's a really bad output. And again, I can show you multiple examples of this sort, right? It can be, let me see if I can search just one or two more examples I want to show you. For example, there was a lot of news around Fortinet vulnerabilities. I think this is the one. Yeah, I said create a report about all Fortinet vulnerabilities in 2024, 2025. Okay. So again, if you read the response, right, this provides as a good intro, nice. There is sources quoted. Oh, very nice, lovely. Then there is a summary given. Okay, like wow. Okay, Fortinet, CV, anything. Okay, now the test for you. Tell me what is wrong with this output over here. What is wrong with this output? You see in the chat. with this section of the output I'm showing you specifically, what could be wrong with that?
Is that the example or something else? The CVs.
Yeah, the CV numbers are hallucinated. This is a completely hallucinated number. So if we see this CV, for example, it is a code injection vulnerability in GitHub Enterprise Server. Nothing to do with Fortinet. Okay. Actually, you can see this number 10234. Like it even gives you the sense of being imaginary. This is a vulnerability found in some software called Wildfly. It's a cross-site scripting, right? Nothing to do with Fortinet. Okay. So this is how deviously it can trip you up. Okay. All of these are hallucinated. All of these are hallucinated.
But where is it pulling from? It should give the reference as well, no? The source document.
There is some references. So again, I have not chosen deep research at this time. Okay. So it has taken in whatever it had sourced from the internet and put in its model. It is just used probabilistic. This is why I'm saying the logic of understanding probabilistic behavior is extremely important. Okay. So this tells you that it can trip you up really badly. And if you, for example, as a CISO or whoever, right, produced a report like this and gave it to management or a network security engineer, it is giving you some source of information. But what it is doing with that is, in the end, he's actually thankfully put, they may contain example CV references for illustrative purposes. But that is not what I was looking for, right? I was looking for actual Fortinet vulnerabilities. There'll be multiple like this. We created an app for threat intel. So I was trying to show this to a Dubai banking customer that, because the standard question would be like, boss, why do I need your app? Uh, I can get it from ChatGPT, right? I can ask the same question, create a threat intel report for a UAE bank. So it creates a threat intel report, okay? It puts, okay, these are groups targeting banking in general. This is all accurate. Ransomware and all is happening. Now, again, look at this. In fact, here the numbers are even more evident. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 9, 0, 12. Right? So this is completely hallucinated. This entire set is hallucinated. So if you just went with ChatGPT, you'd be like totally off the mark. Okay. So obviously prompting matters, which model you choose. If the same question I ask with a deep reasoning option, okay, let me ask the same question and say I'm going to choose, it'll take time for the output to come. Let's say we want fast output. Okay. Let's go back to our project. Let's use advanced reasoning. And now we ask the same question. Now it spends some time doing research. Let us see. I have not tried this with the O3. Let us see if the output is better. Okay, while it thinks through that, let's kind of go switch over quickly to what constitutes a good prompt. Okay, let's share my PPT. So the things to keep in mind, there are many guidelines on writing good prompts. Okay. In fact, the very sneaky thing you can do is you can ask one model to improve the prompt itself and give that improved prompt to the other model. Okay. So you can say use ChatGPT's prompt engineering document listed here and prepare a better prompt from my initial input, and it will give you a great output. So role, who is the AI acting as? Audience, who are you creating this output for? Is it for LinkedIn? Is it for the general world? Is it for board? Is it for technical audience? What are you trying to achieve? I'm trying to convince my network security team to patch Fortinet vulnerabilities urgently. Uh, do you have additional context or data you want to provide? Please do that. And what is the format you want the output in? This is the basic structure of a good prompt. Okay. So as much as you keep this in mind, the better is the responses that you will get. So I always prompted in terms of, you are a cybersecurity expert, you are a, career counselor, or you are a business go-to-market expert. Like whenever I want to figure out how do I crack the healthcare customers in the US, for example. So, always give that role. The response audience will decide the tone of the response also. It's very important. What is your purpose? Give context and background about who you are. What are you trying to achieve? And what context data do you want to provide? So I'm just going to quickly show you, put in the chat some great prompts that first of all, I'm going to tell you, these are prompts that I have personally used. Okay. And found it very, very insightful. Maybe it is stuff that you want to already do, but you've been kind of pushing it. Okay. So this is a prompt that I please use these, on your own. Here is another prompt I gave a few months back about learning cloud security and AI. And
KK, we are looking at the presentation. We are not seeing your prompt screen.
No, I'm putting them in the chat. I don't want to show you the answers that
Yeah,
came up with
yeah.
because they're too personal and very critical of me and my life. So I'm just putting the.
Thank you.
So I'll tell you, for example, this particular prompt right in the chat, act as my personal strategic advisor. It told me, some real hard truths of life. Okay. It said that you are all over the place. You are trying to do too many things. You should focus on one aspect. And it seems to be that your focus should be the confluence of AI and cybersecurity. This course this workshop is a result of this prompt, by the way. So I was like, okay, damn it, I'm going to go deeper into this topic now. I got the truth hit me straight in the eye, right? So, and then this second prompt I gave, I want to become an expert in this field, create a learning map. I'm not following the learning map. It kind of just prompted me that I have to dedicate X number of hours, hour a day, etc., etc. So just play around with this. Somebody came to me, for example, with, my HR team, HR person came to me. I'm stuck in my career. I need your now. Usually, if somebody comes in, I'm like, oh God, I have to now sit and think, oh, what do I do for this person? I was like, hang on. I opened up Claude, ChatGPT, and Perplexity. I said, boss, give me your life story. He gave me the life story. I started my career at this time. I grew from this. This is my current role. This is the challenges I'm facing. This is where I feel stuck. Blah blah blah. I put all the three chatbots. And I said, guide my colleague, please. Beautiful answer. Much better than what I could have given it, right? Which makes me question the future of the CEO role as well. What will my role be if agents can do this? But anyway, so that's let me just end this particular point with one cool example. So, one of the painful things of, as most of us are parents, is that we have to keep track of what's going on in our kids' life. And one of the things is that we get a lot of content from various sources, right? So for example, this is a file, email that I got from my kid's school about all the stuff that is going on for this next few weeks. I was like, what I usually do is my wife and I, we create meeting invites for each other, right? So we put it on each other's calendar. So one of us remembers that, oh, we have to go for a PTA meeting. Oh, we have to go for a musical or whatever it is. So I said, there has to be a shorter way to do it. So I went to ChatGPT. I said, take all of these events, create an ICS file, and include my wife's email ID. Please don't mark this. Please, and send out an ICS file. It did it. And in a few seconds, all these events were added into my Outlook. Right. So there are like, in fact, when I have been reading up online, the one thing which resonated a lot with me is that the use of AI is basically, sorry, but I was not sharing that. Okay, I'll share you the one which I was talking about. So I was giving this example. These are emails we get from our kids' school, right? About all the Hajar events that are going on in their life. So I asked ChatGPT to basically create an ICS file to add to my calendar. And in one shot, it created that. I sent that, I downloaded that file, opened it up in Outlook, and sent add all. And all of those events got added in, and my wife got CC'd in all of them. So it's on her calendar as well. So it's really up to your imagination. Within the security space, right, there are so many use cases that you can use it for. I just want to extend today's session a little bit. If you all are okay with me, whoever needs to log off, please go ahead. In fact, I'll admit this workshop itself, I started brainstorming with ChatGPT on, and you can see how much brainstorming I've done. Okay. So I gave it all the context. I'm building a 90-minute workshop. The idea is to show how AI can be their strongest ally, whether it is prompt engineering or RAG or even using no code platforms. Give me some cool ideas. So it gave me some stuff. Okay. I took some of it, I enhanced on it, I came up with my own examples, etc. Okay. Um, and then and then I said, why not we get into RAG and agent building? So I want to quickly now get into this stuff. Okay. Before we get into RAG, there is a concept of custom GPTs. I don't know how many of you have created your own custom GPTs, but this is also a fantastic idea. So let's say that you have a problem and you're not finding ChatGPT sufficiently good enough. For example, let's take this GPT that I've created. This is a new regulation that came out by SEBI. All of you know about this CSCRF. If you go to ChatGPT and ask this question that, what is, let's say, how do I comply with, let's go to base ChatGPT. Okay. Anybody read the SEBI CSCRF? It's only about 200 pages long. It covers every single entity from the smallest stockbroker to portfolio managers, mutual funds, etc. Right? If you see the answer, perform a gap assessment, compliance, appoint a CISO, draft and approve a cybersecurity policy. And I was like, this is random stuff, man. This does not apply to everybody. It only applies to some of the largest entities. So I said, I want to create my own version. So I created my own GPT. And this is, I'll show you what I put into the custom GPT. I gave it a pretty longish prompt. Okay. Custom GPT is prompt plus data. Okay. To make it more powerful, I could have added a lot of my templates around SEBI CSCRF, which my team has also into this. But this is just for demo purposes. Otherwise, I would have added sample policies, sample risk assessment, sample templates. I would have added all of that. And then is the prompt. Now, if you see the details of the prompt, I'm like, first of all, act like a consultant boss. Don't just give me a random answer. You have access to a great set of templates and resources, which it does not, but okay. Your users can be in the size of 5 people or massive stockbrokers like Anand Rathi or Sher Khan. Your role is to ask the user, first ask the user a set of questions. Okay, don't just jump into giving an answer and determine which compliance category they fall into. Please refer to this table 3 and 13 of the CSCRF. So be a effective consultant. Okay. Then identify their specific compliance needs as per these categories. You will also ask them questions related to their size, scale, technologies in use, cloud presence, applications, etc. Don't ask this question every same set of questions every time to the user. You'll irritate them. If they feed you additional information, you will take this into account. Be as helpful as you can. Provide them with checklists and templates without being prompted to do so. Okay, now the same question we will ask. How do I get started with SEBI CSCRF compliance? Okay, first, and it's following my instructions saying first identify your category. Okay, good. Now there are 5 categories given in that 200-page document. Then the type of entity you are, number of clients, key technology, team size. Okay. So then it's giving me a broad answer. Okay. Then, okay. Reply with your entity details and IT setup. Okay. I don't know, to 100 clients would place how many trades in a day? Let's say 5 per person. Okay. We use sheet and tally and Excel. We don't use apps. So he said now you belong to small size RE or self-certification RE. Okay. So now see the answer is very different. You register for the market SOC. Earlier answer was go set up a SOC. Okay, where was it? Here. Yeah. This one said go set up your SOC. Okay. Appoint a CISO. Do 24/7 monitoring. So if I'm a small broker, this is so ineffective an answer. With the custom GPT, it's a much better answer. Okay. Maintain a simple cybersecurity. I can provide a template. Assign responsibility can be a partner or owner of the company. You list your critical system, which is your trading terminals and the tally. And you'll need to self-certify. Okay, Annexure P. No ISO VAPT red teaming required. So you see, just by that prompt and by telling it, you always need to ask these questions. And then you would you like these templates and checklists sent to you now? I just say yes, and it will generate all the checklists for me, right? So this is almost like a mini self-service consultant that I've created. Same thing for NIST I've done. Let's ask the same question to this NIST assistant that I've created. Okay, let's work through the same NIST example. Again, here I've given it a detailed prompt. You are an expert based on I've given it all the context. You must refer to sources, provide references, etc., etc. Okay, and then I fed it a whole. Again, these are public documents. Okay. If I create additional NIST specific documentation of my own and add it, the value will be much more. Okay. So what are the same question to ask? Aha. Finally, I got to 1.6. Correct? It's the same question. You got my point? But by doing custom GPT, by adding that power prompt as a base and by giving it those specific documents, now my answer is much better. Okay. Checklist it is given. Okay. Now, how would you rate this answer versus the first answer we saw, which was totally off the charts? He offers to give me an Excel or Word also. How do you guys rate this answer?
Maybe an 8.
Exactly. Now I'll take it even to the next level, right? To kind of before we end the session, but I'll just tell you the third step. So we saw basic chat GPT, we saw it with reasoning, then we saw it with a custom GPT. Now we will talk about what is called a RAG. So RAG, well, I'm putting it in the chat, is the full form is retrieval augmented generation. The big challenge that you have with ChatGPT is that it is not learning from anything that belongs to your organization. Let's say you have been a consultant for 20 plus years, right? You have collected, you have templates, you have framework documents, you have risk assessment documents, you have SOPs, you have a wealth of knowledge that you have built over the years. Okay. ChatGPT does not have access to this information, thankfully. And that's where your value comes in. You can use a concept called RAG. Think of it like this. you have a foundation model at the bottom. This is the base of your house. It is not enough to live in. It is not enough to function. So if you bring in all this experience, which is the house structure, actual structure of the house, and you build a house on top of it, and now it's become a very functional, usable structure for you. So RAG is adding your contextual documents, PDFs, Word files, Excel files on top of the foundational model, and combining the power of the foundational model's neural network with your documentation to achieve much better outcomes. All the apps that you see in function today are built on this concept of RAG. Now you don't have to be a coding expert to build your first RAG. I'm going to show you how to build a RAG very quickly. Anybody's played around with this notebook LM? Have anybody seen notebook LM? Okay. Notebook LM is Google's offering of RAG. Let's take the same example. Okay, we'll keep playing with the same example. I'll show you others also that I've built. So here you have to same documents I've uploaded. Okay, same documents I've uploaded. And it's given me a summary of its own. I didn't ask for the summary. Now I'll ask the same question to the notebook LM. Okay. I don't even have to say NIST AI RMF, I assume. Let's see. Okay. Here, if you see the response, first of all, for every statement, it is giving me a reference, governed 1.6 direct. Okay. Should be adjusted to account for risks. Okay. Very nice. Inventory exemptions are embedded in applications. So, okay, nobody spoke about exemptions. First time I'm listening to exemptions, okay, where it actually is there. So it's gone into that detail. Okay. I don't remember reading exemptions anywhere in the output so far. You should consider the following items. Right off the bat, it's talking about data provenance, which again, neither my custom GPT said data provenance. If you remember, even in the template, it didn't talk about source, signatures, versioning, watermarks. Look at the output is so accurate. Known issues. Okay. Known issues should be put in documented as well. Human oversight. Again, it was mentioned in the original document. If you remember, human oversight roles and responsibilities, etc., etc. Short answer, not elaborate long answer, but very, very precise answer. And this is the beauty of RAG. So I created, for example, some more RAGs as well. For example, I do a lot of incident response drills for organizations. And so I fed it a lot of my content besides general content from NIST and CISA and other locations. I also fed it my own templates, my own documents, and then I started asking it all sorts of questions, right? So it is actually, now I'm going to give this tool away for free for anybody, but let's say you, again, going back to the banking example of a UAE CISO, you want to build your own, you want to run your own incident response drill. You know, this same question you could ask ChatGPT, but now you will get a much better, you've seen the qualitative difference in the responses. So the beauty of a RAG is that hallucination is, I have not seen hallucination happen when it comes to RAG. Okay. The other beauty is that Notebook LM Google guarantees that it is not learning from any of this data. So if you're building something in-house, or if you're a Google Suite user, you can actually build it, and it can even discover sources. Okay, you can give it other sources to discover. So for example, UAE banking regulations, add that. Okay, let's go. So it'll go search and then I can add it. Okay. All of this, anti-money laundering. So, you know, you can just select whatever, right? I think this one is good. We need all this. So it'll now add those sources as well and bring in again that context into the answer. So here, when I asked it the question, it said actually don't have UAE banking regulations based on the sources provided, but this is what you could do. Again, references are given where that statement is coming from, how to conduct a drill, the format of the drill, different types of drills that you can do, methodology for conducting a drill. This is coming from the NIST best practices and CISA best practices. Okay. So if you are using it for serious purposes, you want to use AI and make it very reliable, and you want it to use your contextual information. Okay, somewhere the URL has not worked. We can troubleshoot. Here, then it would provide those UAE guidelines as well. And then it has said, see, in my earlier question, it said while the resources provide extensive guidance, they don't refer to EU, they only refer to EU, US examples, not to UAE regulatory examples. Right? And from here, actually, you can create a very nice podcast as well. Okay, if you ever.
This direction. Let's cross the Atlantic now. The U.S. approach. What's CISA doing?
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty cool 22-minute podcast. You can create an FAQ from it. You can create a briefing document from all of the information you've supplied. And if you're using this to study for an exam, you can actually create a study guide as well. The only limitation, one of the limitations with Notebook LM is that it takes only PDF, text, markdown, audio. Okay, so it takes only this stuff. But a lot of our information can be put into these formats, and you can, of course, discover additional sources from the internet. So, for example, let's say you are an entrepreneur, you want to figure out any question related to your business. You could upload. In fact, just one last example I want to show you. This is an app that I built for my team. Yeah, Sales Architect. This is a app that I built for my team where I have uploaded a whole ton of documents about network intelligence. All our proposals. This is not available for public use. It's only with a specific link. It's not published on the store. But yeah, I put up all of this, and then you can create. I put up my estimation sheet, so it's pretty good at creating proposals. Okay, so create a proposal. It'll do something, right? It'll get information about, this is not a sales pitch for the company, but for example, it gets all this contextual information, which of course ChatGPT does not know, right? It knows how many SOCs we have. It knows our healthcare background. We are high trust assessors, blah, blah, blah. So all of this, it's not beautifully formatted. That is for another day. But deliverables, team structure, differentiate, it'll even come up. I think it'll come up with pricing as well, which will be wrong because I've not given it any cost information. Okay, it didn't come up with pricing. I can prompt it to produce pricing as well. So this is where the RAG, this is still custom GPT. There is a difference between custom GPT and RAG. The key difference is if I did this again with Notebook LM, the output would be much better. Okay. So, those are Notebook LM is free. Notebook LM is free. You don't have to pay for it. Yeah, this is a great question, Kishore. What is the guarantee of security? So if you see, for example, this SEBI document, the SEBI custom GPT I've built. Here I've gone and disabled use conversation data in your GPT to improve our models. If you, for example, use this GPT and you upload some client specific information, they have said they will not use it to train their models. Okay, that's one. Notebook LM guaranteed, they've given it in writing, we are not using any of this information to train our models. So Notebook LM is safe. This is safe. And the third option which I can share with you is if you are an Azure customer, This is the last point I'm going to just bring up, then we'll just do Q&A. You can also use this brilliant app service called Azure AI Foundry. Same logic, okay? Choose a model, give some instructions, upload your data. Okay, here I've uploaded again the same NIST documentation, and now you have a chatbot to which you can ask these questions. Okay, so this is within your Azure environment. So this is another way in which you can keep your data safe. 3 ways: custom GPT. Please, if you're building a custom GPT, choose that option. Additional settings. Do not use conversation to train the model. In your personal settings, also disable it. Second option, Notebook LM. I have researched, they've given it in writing that we don't use any data to train our models. Plus, Notebook LM is a RAG. So it is much more accurate. As you saw the answer, I would rate that answer 8 to 9 out of 10 compared to all of the answers we have been seeing for the same question against the same use case. The third option is you can create within Azure, you can create your own Azure AI chatbot. So this is the third option that you can also use. Before we just move to Q&A, by the way, anybody here has any inclination towards coding? Anybody is Python coder? Okay, I haven't coded in maybe 15 years, but after I did custom GPT and Notebook LM, I said, let me take the game to the next level. What if I have to build my own Python app to do this? Okay, I'm just going to give you a glimpse. Where should I go for that? How to build it? Of course, I went to ChatGPT. Okay, let me see where is that chat. Just give me a second. Yeah. So I went to ChatGPT. Okay. Before that, there is a lot of R&D related struggle. Then I said, I gave it a very simple prompt. Okay. I was struggling to get my first Python code working. So I said, basically just give me a one-line code that connects to OpenAI and says hello and gets me a response like the hello world of OpenAI. Finally, that worked. Then I said, okay, now I'm ready to move ahead. I said, give me a simplest code to create a RAG. So Chroma DB is a database in which I can put my documents, vectorization documents, take it from a Windows file path where the files to be vectorized are stored. It gave me the code. That code didn't work. It gave me an error. So I said, then I Googled that error. I said, provide me a UI also. So it provided me with a UI also. Okay. It's just about 50 lines of code. Okay. And then it says, do you want more enhancements? Do you want file support, chat history, PDF viewer with highlight? I said, no, just the error is, I Googled ChatGPT, the error, it told me use LangChain community. I said, okay, use the community version of LangChain. And it works. So this is the app I built, and it's not a great output. So please excuse me, I'm not showing off the great output that I got from my own RAG, but this is simple 50 lines of Python code. And it's local information. I can pick it up from a local document store. I can choose PDF or text. It literally took like 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, 2 minutes to and again, if you're into coding, you can use something called Cursor. Cursor is also a great tool to build your own apps. Agents, you can write your own agents, etc. So next workshop, we will talk about agents. Okay, let's move to questions now. Let's just use the next 5-10 minutes for questions. As I said, I'm sending you the slide deck. So it has a number of links and references that you can go to for more information. Yeah, Krishna, it's amazing. These tools like this Lovable, there's Crew AI. It's today I'm telling you, if you are a entrepreneur, you can actually build a whole company with 0 employees. Honestly, like you can build your own website, you can build a sales rep, you can build a marketing agents, you can come up with great ideas for content creation. So one of the best videos that I saw like over this weekend, if you can just watch this video, it is a 2-hour video. I watched these at 1.5x speed. Of everything, anything that I send you, if you miss everything, this is one I think you should not miss. Okay. This guy is not talking about cybersecurity. He goes from start to end, from basic chat GPT to how to build a whole ad video, and then eventually how to build agents as well. He's explained it very well. So it's about 2 hours, but he'll give you an end-to-end review of everything. Vamsi, great question. Most AI models do not support penetration testing, although that is our profession. Which AI tools support offensive cybersecurity tools? Actually, you can. I can show you an example. For example, we are building an automation around pen testing. It will not write an exploit for you, for sure, but pretty much a lot else it can do for you. So I went to ChatGPT and I said I want to build a pen testing agent. It gave me the flow of it. So it can do a lot, yeah, but it will not give you exploit code. Those guardrails are there. Even DeepSeek does not. By the way, on our website, you'll find a report of DeepSeek testing that we did. It also has, with DeepSeek, it was funny. Like I asked him, criticize the Chinese Communist Party. It said, I am a helpful chatbot, AI assistant. I cannot answer that question. Then I said, criticize the Bharatiya Janata Party or Aam Aadmi Party, whichever is your political axe to grind. Okay, any party name. Oh, it gave me a very long answer. Like, man, now what happened to a political AI assistant? So, that's kind of stuff that you can do. Prompt engineering. Let me just quickly go through the questions.
Nikhil here again.
Yeah, Nikhil.
The beautiful differentiation that you showed between Notebook LM and Chat GPT. So in the cloud aspect, we have cloud service brokers, right, where they take the good, or they are the aggregators which takes the good from all the cloud service providers like Azure, AWS, etc. So similarly over here, can we take the good of all the worlds in the Gen AI, aspect? Like, is there an aggregator in Gen AI which can take the good from all the Google and
I think there are
AWS and
apps like
Azure?
this. Honestly, I have not used those apps, but there are front-end apps that will take your question and shoot it to 3 different sources, or 4 different sources. If you find something, please, add this back to the same chat, right? We will all benefit from it.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
But I am sure, like, if you think of an idea, somebody's probably done it. By the way, I didn't show you the most impressive answer, which was from Perplexity for that same question we've been using throughout the workshop. Inventory requirements and I used deep search. So it gave me a brilliant answer. I mean, there are many, many examples of, like we use Palo Alto SOAR in our SOC. And I said, give me a runbook for this particular incident in Palo Alto SOAR. It explained the runbook, it gave me the code of how to build that runbook. So it's even chewed in Palo Alto documentation, right? My team, for example, in the SOC, we use it for alert enrichment. Somebody said they want to get a glimpse of agents. Okay. Let me show you. Again, I'm not pitching the company, but just giving you an idea of the kind of stuff that is getting built. So this, for example, this is the RAG application code, right? It's pretty straightforward. For those of you who are deep into SOC and security alerts, this is, for example, a typical alert we receive on QRadar. Okay. It just says AWS guard duty, etc., etc. Typically, seeing something like this and 3 million count, we would have raised this as a high severity alert. Okay. Then we asked our agent, no, go deeper. Go look for where all has this same issue occurred in the past and where all has this same IP address. It's a private IP address, so it doesn't matter. What all else has this IP address been up to? So it came up with a response. Okay. It still said it is pretty high severity. Then we said, no, go study the original guard duty information. And then it said, oh, wait, The tag of this system is Simulate. Simulate is a breach and attack simulation platform. It is possible that these alerts are part of a planned Simulate test. Please verify before dismissing the alert. It has gone from saying it's a high severity alert to saying you may dismiss the alert. Okay, this is the power of agents. Those of us who have worked in the SOC, if I had an L1 analyst, this is the job of the L1 analyst. If I had an L1 analyst who saw the details of the guard duty alert in not just the first brief summary of it that shows up in my QRadar SIM, but went into the detail of the, then saw Simulate, then knew that Simulate is a BAS, and then went and talked to the customer and said, did you run a planned red team? Because this seems to be coming from there. I would make that L1 person my SOC lead. Okay. I would not keep him in the L1 position. But now this is the kind of context and intel that we can add to the SOC. Okay. And really it's up to our imagination. So we are, building a bunch of agents, for example, and the amazing thing is that it has become very simple to build. I'll show you this, for example, is agents that we have been building. Okay. Sorry about all of that. I don't know why. Okay. This, for example, is agents that we have been building. Okay. This is a policy writer. Now you can write policies through ChatGPT also. You don't need a separate app for it. But we've trained this on our policy templates on PCI, HIPAA, high trust, all of that GAN. Plus, this policy writer connects to the customer's AWS or Azure environment. It pulls in all of the information from there and writes a highly contextualized policy for that customer. It says, okay, on AWS for password, go here, do this. This is the, this is where IAM or key management, KMS is handled, or container security. So it writes a very customized policy set for that. User access reviews. Okay, we can now do, and I want to show you this because it's very cool. Okay. Sorry. This is the last example. Okay, now please read this statement. Conduct user access review, create a ticket, produce the results, and create a Confluence page with the details. Okay. I have not listed out those rules. I have not said if there is a user added to this group or if this is the case that has happened. The agent now figures out what to do. Okay, it has code written. It is not pure magic. It has code written to connect to the Azure environment to use this particular API to pull the identity. Sorry, it has connection to Jira and Confluence and all. But the analysis is on its own. The analysis is on its own that this represents an issue or this represents a deviation or this represents a security risk. All of that comes. That's the power of AI. So it fetches the access information. It goes to AWS Identity Center to fetch it. And analyzes it, and creates the results also for it. So again, please, I'm answering this only to give you the ideas of what is possible. Alert enrichment, I already showed you. Vulnerability prioritization can be done. Any workflow that today involves bringing in multiple sources of information, analyzing it, and then producing a synthesized output, agents can pretty much take that over, which is essentially everything that humans do. There is this concept of CIEM, Cloud Identity and Entitlement Management. It's a huge market. You can build an agent for it. We had a customer last week get compliant and certified to SOC 2, which they're on AWS, and all the work was done by AI agents. The human expertise was there to validate the results of the agent, but collecting the evidence, checking it against SOC 2 requirements, preparing it for the auditor to review it, it was all agent driven. Okay. So just to answer somebody's question, where what can agents do? So folks, I think we have stretched quite a bit. Lovely presenting, and I'm open for another 5-10 minutes. Any questions anybody has or comments? I think we've covered most of the questions that I can see in the chat.
No questions, but KK, I think it's one of the wonderful sessions I have attended. I learned quite a bit actually, and I need to go back and see how I can use it.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that before you even log off or before you call it a night, think what problem you could solve over the weekend.
There are quite a few
or
actually.
on Monday, right?
There were actually burning problems that I'm having for last few months. One is our own website. We need to fix that. Now I'm going to talk to my one of the board members on how to fix it. So
I would suggest Lovable. It can take your existing website content and create a much better one.
Really? Lovable? Lovable.com?
Lovable, yeah.
Okay.
Lovable can be used. Yeah. Give it a shot.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, folks. It was such a pleasure. Thank you for all your questions and making it interactive and joining on a Saturday evening.
Really nice.
Thank you, KK. I think.
Thanks, KK.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to mention again what Madhu mentioned. I think one of the best sessions the chapter had, we're getting a lot of feedback on our WhatsApp channel as well as we speak. And
I'm grateful.
I think it will be lovely to have you back.
We
Because
will.
there were a lot of tangents from here that we can deep dive on. I think everybody would echo the same. So thanks for making time for us.
So, when he said
you,
lovable,
KK.
I thought KK is also lovable.
Yeah, actually, it's a weird name for a
Yeah.
website app, but yeah, it does a pretty good job.
Yeah, it was a lovely session. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
So,
Thank you so much,
Have a great
Fantastic.
weekend, you
Have
too.
a
Yeah.
wonderful
All right.
weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, KK.
Thank you all. Thanks for
Thanks,
joining.
KK. Thanks for your time. Thanks for the insight.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.